Since comics were a huge part of people's lives, at one point writers and artists decided they should make some Christmas special edition comics. In some comics, we can see that they were making just random enemies, but in some, there are well-known villains joining a Christmas party. Movie Tools presents Top 10 Amazing Christmas Superhero Comics. 10. Superman's Christmas Adventure. One of the very first DC Christmas specials to ever be published, this 1940 tale from Jerry Siegel and Jack Burnley is pure golden age camp. But it's also absolutely memorable and a true holiday classic in every sense of the word. What starts out as a comic about Clark Kent having to find a Christmas story to write for the Daily Planet devolves into a tale of two evil men trying to kidnap Santa's reindeer by taking their rocket to the North Pole. Fortunately, Santa calls on Superman, who not only saves Christmas but does so by guiding Saint Nick's life. 9. Soft Targets. Not exactly a holiday story that warms the cockles of one's heart, Soft Targets is a great demonstration of just how amazing Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka's work was on the criminally underrated police procedural, Gotham Central. Despite the fact that this series rarely involves Batman, instead focusing explicitly on the Gotham PD, Soft Targets is Brubaker and Rucka's chance to tell a Joker story. And what a Joker story it is. Joker incites fear and paranoia throughout Gotham when he goes on a one-man killing spree, using a sniper rifle to target high-profile individuals just before the holidays. After the city goes on lockdown, and Gotham residents are urged to stay indoors, Joker allows himself to be captured so he can carry out an even more devious plan, bombing a shopping mall on Christmas Eve. Batman makes a rare appearance in the series to save the day, but not without a member of the Gotham PD losing his life, making Soft Targets an undisputable Christmas tragedy. 8. Merry Christmas Justice League, Now Die. As part of his critical acclaimed run on GLA in the early 2000s, Mark Waid takes a somewhat tired holiday trope, the kid who doesn't believe in Santa Claus, and gives it a superhero makeover. The story is told from Plastic Man's perspective, as he tries to convince a skeptical young boy about the legitimacy of Santa. But because this is Plastic Man playing the role of narrator, his account takes a number of bizarre twists and turns, including a Santa with heat vision, which he uses to combat demonic elves. As part of his case for Santa, Plastic Man tells the boys that Kris Kringle is also a member of the Justice League. The story ends somewhat predictably, but is still an insane amount of fun as told by one of the great masters in Wade. 7. Have yourself a Sandman Little Christmas. Oddly enough, the first issue of Marvel's flagship team-up book, Marvel Team Up, kicked off its run with a Christmas-themed issue starring Spider-Man and Human Torch versus the misunderstood villain, Sandman. After the Sandman appears at the polar bear swim event at the beach, Spidey, who just wants to get a nice Christmas gift for his girlfriend Gwen Stacy, tries to palm off the villain on the Fantastic Four. Instead, Spider-Man and his best frenemy Human Torch work together to bring in the Sandman. 6. The Silent Night of the Batman. This 8-page backup story from Mike Friedrich and Neil Adams manages to capture the spirit of the holiday season by being oddly and unexpectedly touching and heartfelt. Its premise is relatively simple. Batman is invited to go Christmas caroling by Police Commissioner Jim Gordon, and while he is away from the streets of Gotham, a series of crimes almost happen but are stopped when the would-be perpetrators think they see Batman. By the end of the comic, not a single call comes in for Batman. Whether this turn of event was due to the spirit of Christmas or Batman's effort to clean up the street is irrelevant, as the Caped Crusader gets to enjoy a rare night of peace and tranquility, a perfect Christmas Eve. 5. Thief was the fight before Xmas. An absolutely manic and hilarious one-shot story from writer Darwin Coke and artist Jay Bone that was a part of underappreciated Spider-Man Tangled Web series from the early 2000s. Bone's cartoony style works perfectly with the overall vibe of the story, which features Peter Parker being forced to go to the mall on Christmas Eve to buy J. Jonah Jameson's wife Marla a present. While he's at the mall, Sue Storm and the Inhuman, Crystal, are also there shopping when a brainwashed Medusa stampedes through, causing a holiday ruckus. In typical Spider-Man fashion, a crook, dressed as Spidey, uses the Medusa-caused diversion to rob a few stores, which of course earns the wall-crawler Jonas scorn and public admonishment. 4. Wanted, Santa Claus, Dead or Alive. An otherwise standard holiday themed offering about Batman fighting mobsters that use a department store Santa Claus as the key to be a robbery, this story is primarily notable for two things. 1. It has one of the best Christmas story titles of all time. And 2. It's the first work on a Batman story by a then up-and-coming artist named Frank Miller, who would go on to redefine the character with The Dark Knight Returns and Batman Year One, before doing, well, something to the characters in books like Batman Spawn and All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. Other than that, it's pretty standard, although it's worth nothing that Batman totally knocks a guy out by throwing a Christmas tree at him. 3. The night the mob stole Xmas. We've mentioned Batman quite a bit on our Christmas countdown already, but this one features the Dark Knight in the kind of joyful insanity that only the team of Bob Haney and Jim Aparo could bring. The plot concerns Batman teaming up with Plastic Man to fight a bunch of mobbed up Scrooges. The real treat, however, is when Batman starts talking in trucker slang, which we like to think as Bob Haney's gift to us. 2. The Seal Man's War on Santa Claus. Originally slated to run in Sandman 7, the Seal Man's War on Santa Claus was shelved for 5 years, which we can only assume was because DC was afraid to run a story this awesome. How else would you explain a decision to run a story where the Lord of Dreams traveled to the castle of the Nightmare Wizard to prove that Santa Claus existed and found himself battling against a tribe of seal men who were rebelling against Santa Claus because he accidentally brought them gloves and scuba diving equipment instead of the presents they asked for, thus leading to Santa Claus having a fist fight with seal people before it all gets resolved. 1. Yes, Virginia, there's a central. Similar to the Tangled Web entry, this story, which opened the very first Marvel Holiday Special in 2004, is just joyfully fun. Yes, Virginia takes place at the Avengers Holiday Party, which is worth the price of admission by itself, as the event is filled with a number of funny and wacky gags, like the younger hero Gravity being denied entry to the festivities. However, the party takes a serious turn when a killer Santa robot crushes the party and reveals himself to be Ultron in disguise. While there may not be any strings on this Santron, he's ultimately done in by his sweet tooth, as Yellow Jacket puts a device inside a Christmas cookie, which disarms the killer robot. That's one way to lose all the holiday pounds. Thanks everyone for watching. If you like this video, press subscribe button on the screen for more awesome videos.